Hello and welcome to CVR News Network. You are watching CVR English and these are the details of the World 360. The Pakistan Army stated all the Baloch insurgents responsible for hijacking the train and holding 212 passengers hostage in Balochistan had been killed after a day-long military operation. According to the army spokesperson, the Baloch Liberation Army had already killed 21 passengers and 4 paramilitary soldiers before security forces managed to neutralize all 33 attackers. Lieutenant General Ahmad Sharif announced that the operation had successfully ensured the safe release of all hostages. Pakistan's military declared that their operation against the Balochistan Liberation Army hijackers on Jafar Express in Balochistan had been successfully concluded. The hijackers has killed 21 passengers and 4 soldiers before security forces eliminated them. Snipers has targeted suicide bombers clearing very train compartment. Authorities confirmed that the attackers has been in contact with the Afghan masterminds. Balochistan Chief Minister Sarfaraz Bughuti strongly condemned the incident, asserting that targeting unarmed civilians was not in line with Baloch traditions.
Confusion के हम जाके माफिया मांगे, उनको साफ के जो भी वायलेंस करेगा, जो रियासत पाकिस्तान को तोड़ने की बात करेगा, बंदूक उठाएगा, रियासत मुकम्मल तौर पर उनका कला कमा करेगी किसी भी सूरत में। हाँ, जो आम बलोच है, जो आम बलोच है उसको गले लगाने के लिए रियासत एक बार नहीं 100 बार तैयार है। कहां हमने बलोचों के लिए आपकी यूनिवर्सिटीज हार्वर्ड और ऑक्सफोर्ड के दरवाजे खोल दिए बलोच बच्चियों के लिए, बलोच बच्चों के लिए। आज भी बलोचिस्तान के तमाम बच्चे जो है वेलफेयर स्टेट की तरह तालीम हासिल कर रहे हैं, जितनी भी यूनिवर्सिटीज है। तो आम बलोच को गले लगाया जाएगा, लेकिन वो जो वायलेंस पे उतर आया है, वो जो मासूम लोगों को कत्लो गारत करे, उनके साथ क्या सलूक बरता जाए? उनके साथ वही सलूक बरता जाए। जनाब स्पीकर, 1 इंच, मैं बार बार कहता हूं, मैंने कभी यह नहीं कहा कि बलूचिस्तान के हालात ठीक है, उमर अजूब साहब कुछ कह रहे होते हैं, कभी कौन कुछ कह रहा होता है। मैं ये कह रहा हूं कि 1 इंच टेरिटरी होल्ड करने की ताकत बीएलए या ये जितनी भी दहशतगर्द तंजीमें उनके अंदर नहीं है। They cannot hold an inch of our land for not more than 4-5 hours. इतना ही टाइम लगता है रिएक्शन टाइम, उसके बाद कहां चले जाते हैं। इशू यह है कि उन्होंने वो एनवायरनमेंट जो है वो इस तरह मासूम लोगों का कत्लो गारत करके, और हमेशा सॉफ्ट टारगेट्स, वो फौजी जो निहत्ता होकर घर जा रहा है छुट्टी पे, वो फौजी तस्वर नहीं किया जाता है। अगर इतना ही है तो ये कैंटोनमेंट्स हैं, वहां पर आ जाए, लड़ाई लड़ने का शौक है तो मासूम।
Argentine pensioners and soccer fans gathered in front of the Congress to protest against President Jaliver Malaya economic policies. What started as a peaceful demonstration escalated into violent clashes when police used water cannons, tear gas, and pellets against the protesters, who threw stones. The crowd compared Malaya's government to the military junta that ruled Argentina from 1976 to 1983.
Como ser humano, no como una basura, es una piba. Hay que aprender a golpear.
¡Este también es mi país y voy a luchar por él!
A convoy of SUVs believed to be carrying former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte arrived in the International Criminal Court's detention unit in The Hague. Supporters gathered outside to show their solidarity as Duterte faced criminal charges against humanity, charges linked to the Philippine war on drugs. Before departing, he released a video message assuring his supporters that they should not worry and that he would continue serving his country.
System! Send him back!
just to give you the current situation. I am about to land sa Hague. Galing ako Dubai. Stopover for it's a long haul, it's a long flight. Okay ako. Doon na to rin. And I think this is something to do with the
Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky announced that Ukraine has decided it was ready for a ceasefire. The US has relayed details of 30-day ceasefire proposal to the Kremlin. Zelensky described a recent meeting in Saudi Arabia with US and Ukrainian officials as constructive, expressing Ukraine's willingness to accept a temporary truce with Russia.
Я налаштований дуже серйозно. Для мене це важливо закінчити війну. Я хочу, щоб президент Сполучених Штатів Америки це бачив, щоб американці це бачили і відчували, і щоб Європа, всі були в Союзі, саме в Союзі з тим, що треба зробити все, щоб примусити Росію до закінчення цієї війни. А ми готові до формату тиші на 30 днів, так, у тому форматі, який нам запропонувала американська сторона. Але все ж таки про гарантії безпеки ми будемо говорити більш детально. Якщо буде тиша на 30 днів, то ці 30 днів виділяються саме для того, щоб покласти на папір. У нас є наші пропозиції, але покласти на папір погоджені кроки з нашими союзниками, погоджені кроки і формати тих чи інших гарантій безпеки, які будуть у Україні після закінчення цієї. Сьогодні залежить все від того, чи хоче Росія припинення вогню і тиші, або вона хоче продовжувати вбивати людей. Сьогодні залежить від цієї країни сьогодні на 100%, тому що Америка продемонструвала свої кроки і свою позицію, Україна продемонструвала, відповіла без будь-яких різних тлумачень, дуже прямо свою позицію. І сьогодні
Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered his forces to annihilate enemy positions in the Kursk region, vowing to achieve complete liberation at any cost. Speaking at a frontline command post, he praised the elite Russian forces for their aggressive offenses against the Ukrainian positions. He also insisted that foreign mercenaries should not be granted rights under the Geneva Convention and directed his military to establish a security zone along the Russia's border.
In this part, I would like, you have already noted some units that have shown themselves to be the best. I hear them practically every day lately in the morning and in the evening. You have named some. I still want to name those that I have heard. These are the 76th Guards Airborne Assault Division, the 106th Guards Airborne Assault Division, the 11th Guards Separate Airborne Assault Brigade, and the 83rd Guards Airborne Assault Brigade. The 56th Guards Airborne Assault Regiment, the 7th Airborne Assault Division, the 155th Guards Separate Marine Brigade of the Pacific Fleet, the 810th Marine Brigade of the Black Sea Fleet, the 177th Guards Separate Marine Regiment of the Caspian Fleet, the 34th Guards Motor Rifle Brigade, which has been particularly active recently, probably in the last week, the 22nd Motor Rifle Regiment of the 72nd Motor Rifle Division, the 1220th Motorized Rifle Regiment of the 3rd Motorized Rifle Division, The Special Forces Akhmat heard for their proper work. Indeed, our task in the near future, in the shortest possible.
Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum announced that Mexico would observe the progress of negotiations with the United States over the next 2 weeks before making a decision on imposing reciprocal tariffs on U.S. steel and aluminum imports.
Estados Unidos. Vamos a esperar cómo viene el 2 de abril para ver si nosotros tenemos que tomar también algunas acciones que sean en el mismo marco de reciprocidad. Lo que vamos a hacer, aparte de reunirnos con los fabricantes de acero y aluminio de nuestro país, es esperarnos al 2 de abril. Recuerden que el 2 de abril, aparte de que es el tiempo que acordamos en la llamada telefónica, es el día que el gobierno de Estados Unidos ha dicho que habría un esquema de aranceles recíprocos para todos los países del mundo, que dado que tenemos un tratado comercial y que no hay aranceles de México a Estados Unidos, pues que no haya aranceles recíprocos. Entonces vamos a esperar al 2 de abril y a partir de ahí la definición nuestra, si se ponen aranceles o no, recíprocos también, en el caso del aluminio, del acero, o dependiendo también de cómo venga, ¿no? Estados Unidos, vamos.
Iran Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei rejected the U.S. President Donald Trump's proposal of new negotiations, labeling them as pointless. He asserted that if Iran decided to develop a nuclear weapon, the U.S. would be unable to prevent it. Speaking to students in Tehran, he warned of severe retaliation against any American or allied attack.
اینی که رئیس جمهور آمریکا میگه ما آماده هستیم با ایران مذاکره کنیم و دعوت به مذاکره و ادعا میکنه که نامه‌ای فرستاده که البته به ما نرسیده، به من یعنی نرسیده. این به نظر من این فریب افکار عمومی دنیاست. این معناش این است که ما اهل مذاکره میخوایم مذاکره کنیم، صلح کنیم، دعوا نباشه، ایران حاضر به مذاکره نیست. همین شخص مذاکره تمام شده، کامل شده، امضا شده رو از میز بیرون انداخت، پاره کرد. با این آدم چجور میشه مذاکره کرد؟ ما اگر میخواستیم سلاح هسته‌ای درست کنیم، آمریکا نمیتوانست جلو ما رو بگیره. جنگ، ایجاد جنگ، ضربه وارد کردن یک طرفه نیست. ایران
U.S. President Donald Trump announced an increase in tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports to 25%, arguing that the policy would protect American jobs. In response, major trade partners imposed counter tariffs, with Canada and European Union announcing big taxes on the billions of dollars worth of U.S. goods. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen defended the countermeasures as necessary to protect European consumers and the business.
On imports of steel and aluminum, we deeply regret this measure. Tariffs are taxes. They are bad for business and worse for consumers. They are disrupting supply chains. They bring uncertainty for the economy. Jobs are at stake. Prices up. Nobody needs that on both sides, neither in the European Union nor in the United States. The European Union must act to protect consumers and business. The countermeasures we take today are strong but proportionate. As the United States are applying tariffs worth $28 billion, we are responding with countermeasures worth 26 billion euros. This matches the economic scope of the tariffs of the United States. Our countermeasures will be introduced in 2 steps, starting with April 1st and fully in place as of April 13th. In the meantime, we will always remain open to negotiations. We firmly believe that in a world fraught with geo-economic and political uncertainties, it is not in our common interest to burden our economies with such tariffs.
1st of April will automatically reinstate our current suspended rebalancing measures from 2018 and 2020, effectively targeting 4.5 billion euros worth of US goods exported to us. And second, the Commission is taking decisive steps towards the package of additional countermeasures applying to 18 billion euros of US exports to the EU. The objective is to counterbalance the increased trade value affected by the US tariffs while minimizing the impact on European businesses and consumers. But the disruption caused by tariffs is avoidable if the US administration accepts our extended hand and works with us to strike a deal. So under the President's leadership, I'm ready to negotiate and we are ready to make it happen.
Canada retaliated against the US steel and aluminum tariffs by imposing 25% reciprocal tariff on additional $29.8 billion of the US imports. Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc stated that the countermeasures would take effect at the midnight on March 13th. Industries Minister Farron Philip Champagne reassured citizens that the government was committed to protecting Canadian jobs and the auto industry.
I'm announcing that the Government of Canada, following a dollar-for-dollar approach, will be imposing, as of 12:01 a.m. tomorrow, March 13th, 2025, 25% reciprocal tariffs on an additional $29.8 billion of imports from the United States. This includes steel products worth $12.6 billion and aluminum products worth $3 billion, as well as additional imported U.S. goods worth $14.2 billion for a total of $29.8 billion. The list of additional products affected by counter tariffs includes computers, sports equipment, and cast iron products as examples. These tariffs are in addition to Canada's 25% counter tariffs on $30 billion of imports from the United States in response to U.S. tariffs put in place on March 4th. In addition, we learned yesterday that the United States tariffs would also be imposed on steel and aluminum content in certain derivative products. The government is currently assessing this aspect and may impose, of course, further tariffs in response to this measure as well.
We're going to fight for the auto sector every single day. I spoke to them and I say, Canadians have been there for you. Canadians have been there for the auto sector for decades since we had the auto pact. And these companies, most of them, have long-standing commitments to this country. We're going to make sure that they abide by the terms of every single agreements we have with them to make sure we protect the jobs. So I just want to be clear on the auto sector. Make no mistake that we are already on their back, saying we're going to be watching like hawks as to what may happen to the auto sector, because this is a core industry for the prosperity of this country.
I think the strategy is clear. We just need to make sure that we put maximum pressure to defend our jobs, defend our sovereignty, defend our way of living. But meanwhile, as a team negotiating, we need to find off-ramps. And it is just the right thing to do. So we'll do both. That conversation with Howard Lutnick is important. The ones we have, and I'll have with Secretary Rubio as well. So we're doing that in the best interest of Canadians. Well, this is not only a threat to Canadian jobs, not only a threat to so many families that are supported by these jobs, it is an existential threat to our country. And we will fight for every single job, we'll fight for families, and we'll fight for who we are as a country, because this is not only about the economy, it is about the future of our country.
But I have every confidence that he's exactly the right leader at this moment to continue to take a...
President Donald Trump welcomed Irish Prime Minister Michael Martin on Wednesday for the annual St. Patrick's Day celebrations at the White House, where he added Ireland to the list of the countries he says are taking advantage of the United States. During a meeting with the Irish Prime Minister, At the White House for the National St. Patrick's Day celebration, U.S. President Donald Trump accused Ireland of taking advantage of the United States by attracting its pharmaceutical industry.
It's a great honor to have Micheál Martin, Taoiseach, Ireland. It's a special place, and he's a very special guy. He did it the hard way also. He served, and then he took a little time off, and then he served again. I've heard about that. That happens on occasion. And he's done very well, and we knew each other from a long time ago. I just want to welcome you to Washington, D.C., and to our country, and thank you very much.
May I thank you, President. It's a great honor for me to be here to celebrate St. Patrick's with you. And I thank you for your hospitality and the warmth of your reception. And I commend you in terms of the work that you're doing, particularly in terms of the pursuit of peace, which we discussed earlier. And I think that's going well. And you really have, in the first sort of 100 days of this government, you've done some extraordinary things very quickly. Everybody's watching in that respect. So.
How worried should Ireland be, given the fact that it has a massive trade surplus with the US for $50 billion?
Well, I don't think he looks nervous to me. And if he was nervous, he wouldn't show it. Now, I